Welcome to Brussels. Welcome to my house. My name is Anna Holmén, and I am your host for this Juvenes Translatores award ceremony. Back in September, we at the Directorate General for Translation were proud to announce to schools that the contest had gone digital. But we couldn't imagine back then that we will also have to hold the award ceremony digitally. But we've done our best to make the best out of the situation, even if you have to make do with only me and not all the interpreters who normally make this into a multilingual experience. I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we would much rather have met with you here, the 28 winners, your teachers, all your family members. But we will make the best out of the situation. We have a full program today with speeches, videos, and I will of course present all the winners to you. Now you will get a glimpse of the Directorate General for Translation and the office where I normally go to work with Jedra, Caroline, Łukasz, the translators who marked your translations. Our Director General, Mr. Rytis Martikonis, will address you from right outside the Directorate General for Translation.
Tere tere, hola, ahoy, guten tag, bonjour, buongiorno. This is a beautiful day in Brussels, but one thing is missing. Because for us in the translation service of the European Commission, spring would come when Juvenes Translatores are in town. It's clear that this spring is different. We are all spending more time in front of the computers. We are learning different ways of doing things, sitting in the classes, and also teachers teaching differently. We also translate differently. But this occasion is for something else. This occasion is for saying thank you and congratulations to those who took part in the competition. There were more than 3,000 students taking part in it, but one per country we had to select as the best. Congratulations. Congratulations for taking this effort, because this is what Europe is about. Europe is about our creativity. Europe is about your and our ingenuity. Europe is about common purposes and different ways of doing things. Europe is about finding new friends and making them friends. Look, you have translated a good text of Future of Europe, Back to the Future, and keep continuing doing this. On our part, we appreciate that you are showing this interest, and we send to you a trophy, we send to you a diploma, we send to you a book and a box of chocolate. Enjoy this emission. Put the trophy on the table, stick diploma onto the wall, and share the chocolate with your friends, most importantly with your teachers and parents. You cannot succeed alone, and this is also an important lesson. Once again, good luck on this occasion, good luck for the future, and stay healthy.
Thank you, Rytis. I know that this contest is close to your heart. Every year, we let a few of the winners hold a speech. And over the years, we have heard some brilliant speakers from all over Europe. But this year, the 3 speeches have a particular sense of urgency, awareness, and empathy. Let's begin with Maja from Denmark, speaking about how young people can contribute to the future of Europe.
Hi everyone. In the fall of last year, we all took part in this incredible competition, translating different texts between numerous European languages, all with the topic of how young people can contribute to the future of Europe. Little did we know, this topic would become incredibly relevant just a few months later. Right now, Europe and the rest of the world are faced with a whole new reality, a frightening reality. In just a few months, the coronavirus pandemic has affected all of us, some unfortunately more than others. And I would like to send my deepest condolences to those who've lost loved ones and my warmest hugs to everyone who's struggling every day under these horrible circumstances. The Danish author and poet Hans Christian Andersen has a famous saying, "At rejse at leve," or in English, to travel is to live. In Europe, many of us are privileged enough to be able to travel the world, experience new cultures, meet new people, and be inspired by our differences. But among many other changes, we're currently no longer able to do that. Social distancing has become a frequently used term in the media, and showing our love, affection, and support through interacting with other people is no longer possible. That's why it's more important than ever that we stand together while being apart. In times like these, it's not our differences, but the ways in which we're similar that I think are really essential. For many young people, myself included, this pandemic and everything surrounding it can be very difficult to grasp. We've suddenly been forced to take a kind of responsibility that's different from anything we've known before. But with all of the sudden challenges and tragedy has also come a sense of solidarity, community, and unity. A sense of knowing that we're all going through this together. That we can lean on each other through the rough times and find comfort in the experiences we share. And quite frankly, I'm proud. Proud to see the role social media has played in keeping us connected, and to see the ways in which young people have taken the lead in sharing their experiences and love with the rest of Europe. Throughout social media, videos of Italian neighbors singing in unity from their balconies, or pictures of teddy bears being placed in windows all over Europe for families with children to find, are in a sense uniting us. Because positivity is also contagious. And I think that's one of the most important ways that young people can contribute to the future of Europe right now. There's no doubt in my mind that this pandemic will be remembered as a tough time of tragedy and hardship. But I hope that we will also remember the ways in which the countries of Europe united in an alternative and unique way. That we stood together when we needed each other the most. And that although we are young, we can have an impact. And we absolutely do.
Tusen tack, Maja. Positivity is contagious, so thank you for sharing yours. Now we'll listen to Domen from Slovenia.
First of all, let me congratulate all the winners that are with us right now. You have accomplished something amazing. You should be proud of yourself. Not everyone can say that they are the best young translator in their country, but you can. I wish you could meet each other in person, but unfortunately, that is not possible due to a pandemic we are facing right now. So I ask you to spare a thought or a prayer for everyone who is working hard to keep us safe, warm, and fed. When I listen to speeches, I like it when they have a little story or an anecdote at the beginning. So I'm going to tell you a very short story. In our school, each class goes to a spiritual retreat once a year for a few days. It's an opportunity to connect with your classmates and talk about subjects you usually don't get a chance to discuss. In one of the thought exercises, we had to write down our core belief, something that we are so sure of that nobody would be able to change our mind. After some thinking, I wrote down, this world isn't the best it can be, and we must work towards fixing it. Just take a look around. On one hand, you have these progressive, rich countries in Europe and North America. On the other hand, you have all those poor, corrupt, and environmentally damaged nations in Asia and Africa. The richest 1% own more than 40% of the world's wealth. Global warming is destroying the planet. I may be wrong, but that doesn't seem like the world is in great shape. The text we translated was about how young people like us can change the world. I strongly believe this is an important topic, especially for us. It's easy to see all the bad that is happening around us and just give up. To just say, nothing can be done, nothing can be changed, this is the best it's ever going to get. But the fact is that we are the generation that their world is depending on. We are the last generation that can stop the devastating effects of global warming. We are the generation that can stop and reverse the rise of a dangerous nationalistic rhetoric around Europe. We are the generation that can close the wealth gap. We are the generation that can achieve true equality for everyone, men, women, LGBTQ community, children, and elders. We can help make the world a better place for everyone. But why? Because we have to. Because we have a responsibility to make sure that everyone lives a high quality life and has the opportunities to shape himself into the best possible person. Being a part of the richest 20% of the people on the entire planet gives us the tools we need to make real, substantial, long-lasting changes. We cannot let these tools and opportunities that are basically handed to us go to waste. Rather, we must use them to further the cause of social justice and equality across the world. If we won't, who will? But it is not going to be easy. Each and every one of the changes necessary to fix the most pressing of global problems requires a deep and thorough change. Change of personal and, even more importantly, societal behavior, rules, and norms. Not everyone is going to be happy with these changes. A lot of them will influence some of the world's most powerful people, and believe me, they will spend as much money and effort as they can to stop us from changing the system. It is already happening right now with Greta Thunberg and the whole environmental movement. Some people will try to label us as radicals, or dangerous, or revolutionaries. Some people may harass us for expressing our beliefs. You're only 17, you don't know what you're talking about. Shut up and focus on school. Don't give up when you hear these words. Know that when people start talking bad things about you, you matter enough and are loud enough to warrant a response, even if it's a nasty one. Another important thing is that all of these changes are inherently political. Without engaging ourselves with political movements and ideas, all hope of a better world is just that, hope. So I implore you, start reading the news. Start looking into what laws your governments are passing. Start asking yourselves what directives is the EU passing. This is the only way to know which issues are the most important at the moment and where you can be the force of change. Don't be a passive citizen. Start being active. Show society what young people are capable of. Don't let them underestimate us. We can change the world. Thank you for listening and stay safe.
Hvala lepa, Domen. Inform yourself, be active, make the world a better place, and never give up. Good advice. Now we go to Spain to meet Thomas.
How can young people contribute to the future of Europe? This is an undoubtedly complicated topic. We can spend days on end discussing the ins and outs of youth politics, how teenagers can contribute to their community, or how generous young people can selflessly volunteer. But that discussion would inevitably alienate those that have the most to gain from it, and would result in us treating the symptoms instead of the disease. We live in uncertain times, and this uncertainty affects young people disproportionately more than any other age group. Stagnant wages are eaten up mostly by rising home and rent prices. Education, healthcare, and other public services keep on deteriorating due to increased national budget cuts. And we are on the cusp of what could possibly be one of the worst economic recessions in history, which will probably severely damage our job opportunities. Even without this oncoming recession, job precariousness, especially in tourism-dependent countries such as Italy, Portugal, or my home country, Spain, is on the rise. How can young people contribute to the future of Europe if so many of them cannot have a reasonable stake in their own future? Worst of it all is that the most disadvantaged have no reasonable means to interact politically with the system, and if they do, then either they are too apathetic to care, or their demands and suggestions end up having little to no effect on the political sphere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we, as Juvenes Translatores winners, do at least have the means to do something. We have all had the time to learn a second or even a third language. We have all gone to schools that have given us the opportunity to take part in this activity. And most likely, very few of us have to work 2 or even 1 job to support our families. We are the lucky ones who have the means to do something, and it is our duty to do so. But what do we do? Our main focus shouldn't be on each of us individually doing something, but on convincing our peers to take part in the larger conversation between all of us. The European Youth Parliament would be a good start if it weren't made up of only a very select group of people. Community participation would be another great start if it didn't require many more people than are actually available. And volunteering can help to temporarily solve an issue. But real-world problems require permanent solutions, and sending a few volunteers every few months is not a permanent solution. Currently, we cannot help the ones with economic problems, but that day will come. Our goal should be to organise everyone that can take part, and help them realise how important their voice and their participation is in the future of Europe. We cannot only focus on matters regarding the European Union either. Our objective should reside in creating a consciousness that cannot be dependent on the existence of any state or any single institution. We have to remind the young people of Europe that their similarities are greater than their differences, that the problems that the world faces can only be solved by cooperation, and that their democratic voice is the means of solving them. Once we manage this, the question here will not be in how we can act to contribute to the future of Europe, but it will be in what future do we actually want for Europe. Should we defend a Europe that upholds exploitative international relations? Should we defend a Europe that promotes policies that increase the global wealth gap? Should we defend a Europe that fails to take her most disadvantaged, her poorest, her weakest out of their situations? What Europe is it that we, young people, want to live in?
Gracias, Thomas. Our similarities are indeed greater than our differences. Maya, Domen and Thomas were able to speak in some depth about the future of Europe and the role of young people. Now we'll hear the dreams and plans of some more of the winners. I think you're going to enjoy this.
I'd say when I was younger, I was obsessed with tennis.
I wanted to be a marine biologist for a couple of years, yeah.
I just used to watch every Grand Slam, went to Wimbledon a lot.
Because me and my father used to watch like documentaries about the sea, and I really enjoyed them.
The greatest dream that I had was to become a writer.
For a long time, I was very passionate about being a bus driver.
I already knew that I wanted to learn languages.
I said, I want to be a physicist, I want to work at NASA and do all the space stuff and things.
First, I really wanted to be a doctor.
Then later, when physics actually came into the school, I learned that I'm not really made for that sort of work.
When I wanted to be an astronaut, for some reason, like work for the European Space Agency and stuff.
I'm a dancer and I really always wanted to do this either as a hobby or as a profession.
Or being a singer or an actor or anything like on a stage, I think.
I guess I always had the desire to succeed in whatever area I chose to apply myself.
I think the main reason behind them always was to be able to change the world
and live a happy life.
And now my dreams has a bit changed because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I know that I want to do something in order to help other people.
Now I want to become a barrister in the UK, obviously after university, and I've been lucky enough to get an offer from Oxford to study law of Spanish.
I feel like I just do what makes me happy.
I want to do animation movies, so nothing to do with languages.
I go to 2 schools at the same time because I go to my high school and also I go to the music school. So I know that in the future I would like to do something that relates to translations, languages, but also I would really like to work with music.
I really wanted to become a teacher.
Well, obviously languages are a big part of my life, so I feel like anything that has to do with that would be a huge thing that would play a big role in my life, because I feel like languages is also something that can kind of connect people, and I would love to do something like abroad or something international.
I'm not excluding the option of becoming a translator or something else.
I am thinking about career in diplomacy.
I still want to be the best at whatever I do.
Because I feel like nowadays it's pretty hard to find a job that you truly can enjoy every day, every moment of doing it.
And I would still like to become someone who is able to organize or improve the systems, for example, in connection with healthcare or education.
I'm really into physics currently. It comes from the whole astronaut thing, I guess. And again, I'm going to go to study physics. We'll see, maybe be a professor or something.
I really wish to do something that not necessarily helps just myself, but also other people.
Så Frekke. Ut. Positivity is indeed contagious. Our winners believe in a bright future, and with their talent, hope, and obviously language knowledge, they can create it for themselves and for all of us. We also ask this group of winners to tell us how they discovered translation. But before we listen to that, I'd like to pay tribute to a very important group of people, the teachers. If you're out there watching, rest assured that we know this contest wouldn't be possible without you, both for the practical and arrangements and the teaching side. Thank you, merci, danke, gracias.
I think that the contest was the first time in which I tried really to do some translation.
I've always been translating during my whole life.
It's quite a normal process for someone who speaks more than one language and who starts to learn new languages, that you start to express your thoughts in a different manner.
I've been translating for my friends, from between my family members, and that's where it all started.
I was definitely in some situations in which the first thought was in French, and then I had to translate it into Polish,
If I have to communicate with my grandparents on my mother's side, I have to speak English because they don't understand Danish. And if I have to speak with my grandparents on my father's side, then I have to speak Danish. So there's always been this like having to switch between different languages.
It's a little game for me to say something in French, and then in my head I translate it in English or in German, and I think it's quite fun.
I always knew about translation and translators as being a good job, but I never knew I really had these talents.
When I actually sat down, started translating, I figured out that it was more interesting and complex than I thought it was.
So yeah, studying Latin really opened my eyes to the value of translation.
I really started to have like a respect for the translators when I started reading when I started to realize that not all books that are in Slovenian are actually written by Slovene authors.
I was searching videos on YouTube and listening to songs, and then I wrote them.
He translated the Song of Fire and Ice, which is the basis for Game of Thrones. And it's a really amazing translation. He really made me realize that, translators are people and they are important when you read a book.
You can program something that will translate the words, but you can't program something that will translate the meaning. So I believe that humans will always be needed in this profession.
Did you hear what Gonzalo from Portugal said? He said he'd never realized he was a translation talent. One way or another, I've been involved in organizing this contest for over a decade, but it still makes me so happy that we can offer this experience to students in the EU. And that brings me to something else, the special mentions. 271 students got a special mention for their translation, and I hope that some of you are watching now. Special mentions are not something that we send out just like that. If you got a special mention, it means that you are also a translation talent. Some of you were even very, very close to receiving a crystal trophy, like the winners that I am now going to announce. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 28 winners of the 2019 Juvenes Translatores Translation Contest. Belgium, Mathieu Bestien, félicitations. Belgium has 3 official languages, Dutch, French and German. Mathieu comes from a region where all those languages are spoken, and also Luxembourgish and some local languages and dialects. Bulgaria, Anne-Nicole Martencheva, Chestito. Foreign languages have always been Anne-Nicole's true passion. When she was little, she loved translating the lyrics of Spanish songs. That's how it became her favorite hobby, and she hopes to make it her career one day. Czechia, Eliška Chilkova. Gratuluję. Eliška is also hoping to become a translator. She studies English, Spanish and Japanese, and she plans to add Russian or the Indian language Tagalog next. Denmark, Maja Sivaraman Aulund, Tillykke. Languages are a big part of Maya's life as she grew up in a bilingual home with English and Danish at the same time. She hopes to study something linked to languages in the future. Germany, Emilia Heinrichs. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Emilia enjoys playing with language, learning different English dialects, puns and sayings. She also knows some Spanish and a little bit of Irish, which she plans to continue learning. Her main goal is to become a biologist, a multilingual one, no doubt. Estonia, Isabelle Moistus, Palju õnne. Isabelle first wanted to learn German as she had relatives in Germany she wanted to speak to. She loves the sound of German and finds it beautiful and special. Ireland. Rachel Nichruagan, co-gorgeous. Rachel took part in the contest because she wanted to put the beauty of Irish language at the centre stage. She loves the musicality of the language, it's linked to Ireland's culture and heritage, and thinks it should be celebrated more. Greece. Sofia Meretiadou, Sincharitiria. Sophia believes multilingualism can broaden your mind and develop your personality and tolerance towards anything different. Because she knows English, she has access to international media sources and to amazing people of various nationalities. Spain. Tomas Rosal Kleszewski, Enhorabuena. For Thomas, learning languages is all about being able to communicate and making sure everybody understands each other. The more languages you speak, the more people you can reach. Thomas hopes to become a teacher one day. France. Luna Massé, Félicitations. Luna, whose family is from Chile, decided to take part in the contest as she lives by the motto, nothing ventured, nothing gained, which will be useful for her if she fulfills her dream of becoming a journalist. Croatia. Leonarda Sirovec, Čestitam. Leonarda speaks 3 foreign languages, English, German and Italian. She wants to study medicine or pharmacy, but is also tempted by a career as a translator. A professional tip from us. It's an excellent combination, actually. Italy. Viola Pipitone, Complimenti. Viola loves writing, especially in Italian, where she looks for the most beautiful words to create an almost musical effect. Let me here stress the importance of being able to write well in your mother tongue for translation. This was no doubt a key reason for Viola's victory. Cyprus. Chara Seniu, Sincharitiria. Chara pays tribute to her mother for giving her the Serbian culture and language, and to her father for passing on his interest in languages and history. Chara translated from Croatian into Greek, and the differences between Serbian and Croatian made the translation challenge all the more interesting. Latvia. Patriks Pazans, Apseitsu. Like many other children, Patriks first learned English by watching cartoons on TV. He loves gathering knowledge and learning about the world, so school is his favorite place to be. Lithuania. Deimante Puvilaitute, Sveikinu. Deimante wanted to take part in last year's contest but was too young. But she's come back this year with a vengeance. Her dream is to travel around the world and get to know new cultures and languages. Luxembourg. Miriam Palai, Félicitations. Being Luxembourgish, Miriam speaks no less than 6 languages. Participating in the contest opened her eyes to what translation is, as she had never before tried to translate idioms by finding the right words. Evidently, she succeeded. Hungary. Ola Reika, Gratolalok. Reika is one of many winners who studies Latin, an excellent preparation for translation. She is interested in exploring different regions of the world and different cultures and societies. She plans to study social and political studies to make the world a better place. Malta. Nick Czesek, Auguri. Nick wants a career in sustainable development. This would mean traveling for research, so language and translation would be vital. He recommends a visit to Malta for its rich history, brilliant opportunities and fantastic weather. I hope we'll go there in the future. The Netherlands. Emma Kremer, gefeliciteerd. With Frisian-speaking parents and a father who enjoys juggling with words from regional dialects, Emma has had a feel for languages since childhood. She clearly understands what translation is about, as she sees a good translator as someone who not only translates the message of a text, but also expresses its emotional value and connotations. Austria. Marlene Reiser. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Just like Juvenes Translatores, Marlene is all about languages and European cooperation. She is the Vice President of the Model European Parliament, which is an international simulation of the working of the European Parliament for students. Poland. Paweł Pieszczeniewicz. Gratulacje. For Paweł, it's all about music. He listens to all sorts of music like jazz, pop, rock and classical. Plays all sorts of instruments like the double bass, guitar, ukulele and the harmonica. And he likes translating songs. Portugal. Gonçalo Fonseca. Parabéns. Gonçalo loves English, and it's a language that has been his companion since he was young. He loves it because it is a gateway to such a vast amount of literature and contemporary culture. Romania. Andrei Iulian Vișoiu. Felicitări. Besides foreign languages, Andrei loves programming and mathematics. Like languages, these subjects also have their set of rules and syntax, and sparks Andrei's creativity. Slovenia. Domen Medvešček. Čestitam. You already know Domen likes to follow the current world events, but what you may not know is that he plays the piano. He wants to pay a special tribute to his friends who always support him. I hope that some of Domen's supporters are watching right now. Slovakia. Svetlana Mesaroshova. Gratulujem. Svetlana is another aspiring translator with a passion for working with languages and playing around with words. She knows English, Spanish, and a bit of self-taught Korean. Finland. Hannes Karjalainen. Paljon onnea. Hannes studies Swedish in school, where it is a compulsory subject for Finnish-speaking Finns, but he fell in love with the language straight away. He thinks it's important to speak the languages of neighboring countries, so he's learned Russian and some Estonian. Sweden. Tess Linghoff. Grattis. Thanks to the contest, Tess discovered that translation is more than just transferring words from one language to another. It's a way of making two languages connect with each other, so they tell the same story with the same tone. She discovered differences and similarities between French and Swedish that she'd never noticed before. The United Kingdom. Oliver Hutton. Congratulations. Oliver has studied Spanish for almost 5 years and has fallen in love with the language, culture, and people of Spain, which he thinks is an extraordinary country. For the contest, he enjoyed the way translation requires a transfer of meanings between cultures. This autumn, he will go to study law with Spanish at the University of Oxford. That is all from me and my colleagues here in Brussels. The digital ceremony wasn't what you or we had hoped or planned for. But as you, the winners, were willing to share your stories with us, we got a taste of your commitment and enthusiasm. Brussels is still here, waiting for you. And we hope from the bottom of our hearts that one day you will have the chance to come here, or even better, meet up with each other. Tomorrow is the 9th of May, Europe Day. Let me finish on a serious note. The EU Treaty, which is a binding agreement between EU countries, lists the values of the EU as follows: the respect for human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law and respect for human rights, also minorities. Juvenes Translatores winners. Again, from all of us to all of you, congratulations. Our similarities are greater than our differences. Positivity is contagious. Never give up.